Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 161 of Verbal Graffiti with your host, Brian Glass, aka the B-Man, the People's Degenerate. I would like to begin this episode by giving a sincere thank you to everybody who keeps their Venmo public. It's because of your carefree attitude about privacy, combined with being a cheapskate, that makes Venmo my favorite social media app to doomscroll. And doomscroll, the B-Man does. If you're not doing this, you gotta start doing it ASAP right now. Turn off verbal graffiti after you like and subscribe and share with a friend, of course, and start doomscrolling Venmo. It is so fun. Getting insights of your friends, of people in your social circle, the people you follow on whatever media app. When you just see all your friends that have lost their gambling bets and who are eating pizza at 3 a.m. And who's still paying rent. Yeah, who still has roommate, who's sharing electricity, and you're 38 years old and you don't have a mortgage, and you have roommates and you're sharing your cable bill, and who's still on their family plan. I am all these, by the way. The B-Man, I am pointing fingers, but I am also pointing at myself. But my most favorite. I love eavesdropping. Maybe that's why public Venmo and me are such a match made in heaven, a match made on technology in real life. I love to eavesdrop on conversations, people's drama. There was a time in my life when my life was reality TV. That's what I did. I watched reality TV and I talked about reality TV with my friends. There was a time when I was in a Big Brother, CBS, the show Big Brother, I was in a fantasy league. That's how deep I was in reality TV. Again, it all goes back to my core, which is being an eavesdropper. Eavesdropper or eavesdropper? Whichever it is, Venmo provides it and provides it all day long. But the reason why I bring this up, Venmo, because there's something that makes Mr. Perfect move. Mr. Perfect being my wiener, that makes him perk up. When I see this on Venmo, when I see a couple, married, dating, situationship, whatever it is, like they're fucking. Somewhat, I'm not going to say regularly, but they have fucked, and they are living together, sharing a bedroom, presumably. Well, when both parties of the relationship are on Venmo, and I can see that one of them sent a request for the $8 for something he got at the grocery store, or a coffee, or an appetizer when they were out eating together, and I know, oh, you just asked your wife for $8 via Venmo? Like, I know your relationship is in shambles. Because I'm not a woman. If a woman, even me, as a guy, if a woman asks me, a babe asks me, hey, can you give me $8 for that thing we were out doing together, that movie ticket or whatever? Like, I know, oh, you're a cheapskate. You're a cheapskate. And when I see like married couples, that going on in married couples where the husband is asking the wife via Venmo for $8 for the appetizer they got out when they were together Friday night, I know that husband is a cheapskate and his wife is furious about him being a cheapskate. And I think I know that causes strife within the relationship, because I know that, the B-Man, I know that because it causes me strife. Like, I get concerned for the relationship when I see, oh, well, one of the parties, like the boyfriend's asking the girl, especially when it's a guy, because there's still some gender roles, even though we're trying to get past them here in Western culture. There is still that thing where, hey, the guy should pay. It's not even that the guy should pay. It's that I'm not saying the guy should pay or shouldn't pay. What I am saying, the guy should not be asking for $10 via Venmo. Yeah, if it's like $100, like, hey, I was at Home Depot, I was getting us that tubing, that the caulk and all the supplies for the paint, and can you Venmo me $100? I get that. Because that's a shared project. But $10 for a fucking fajita that you had at Chili's, that you're telling your wife, like, hey, I need $10 for that, and you're making a public declaration via Venmo that you want the $10 back for that fajita that you shared at Chili's happy hour on Thursday. That tells me that you're a cheapskate. And if your wife is not, if your wife does not take umbrage with you asking for money, she should. She absolutely should. If I was more of a needle poker, I would point that. I'm not sure if you could message via Venmo, but I would bring that up in conversation. I won't, because I'm not trying to cause any conflict or ruin any relationships. That's bad juju, bad karma. I don't want that here on me, the B-Man, here at Verbal Graffiti. But just watch. If you're not, it's a secret social media app that I don't think a lot of people realize. Like, there's a lot of information on Venmo, and I'm not really sure. There's some type of age. Like, people my age their Venmo's not public, but it seems like everybody under the age of 30, I guess Zoomers, Generation X, they all keep theirs public. So go on Venmo, and you'll find out some juicy details about your friends and especially their relationships. Because if you're asking your spouse for $7 via Venmo for something you bought for her, you're a shitty partner. You're a shitty partner. You deserve to be alone. You deserve to die alone. You deserve to have to eat TV dinners every night alone in your comforter. And not even have a dinner table. You need a TV dinner stand. Like, you don't even deserve to have a table. Honestly, no, I'm a career loner. I am not very successful with the babes. I love to talk about them. I love to point at them. I love to tell you which babes I like to make sweet intercourse with. But as far as actual relationships, I'm not good at them. I hardly ever get in any of them. My last serious relationship was college. And it was, it is what it is. I'm just not good. I don't know how to get in a relationship. But if I was in a relationship, if I was in a relationship, I'd rather people I know see the black eye I gave her than see me ask her for $7 via Venmo. That's just me. That's how. No, I'm not going to give a babe a black eye. I'm not going to do that because I don't have one to give a black eye, and nor would I give one if I did have a babe. But that's how damning asking for a few bucks via Venmo is. It's a black eye. It is a internet, asking your wife for under $10 via Venmo. That is a internet black eye. And you used to be judged, used to be criticized, used to be ostracized for asking your spouse for that little money via Venmo. Again, if you've never checked it out, check out public Venmo. It's juicy. It is juicy fruit. All right, this next one comes from the subreddit Layoffs. I've been there. Companies, please stop setting up fake meetings to mislead your employees and lay them off on the call. One of my colleagues told me how one of the leaders sent out a meeting invite for a company roadmap 2025, only to lay off everyone who was invited to the meeting. I've actually experienced something similar before personally. It's a crappy feeling to be tricked on top of being laid off. Why do they do this? Is there a legal or HR reason for doing that? Question mark. I cannot paddle upstream with you with this take. I cannot do it. I will not get in the canoe with you. It's not often that I side with the corporation or whomever the employer may be. But in this case, like, the corporation does not have any other option but to blindside you with the layoff. Like, they can't, a corporation, a manager, when word comes down to the manager, like, hey, you got to lay off the entire floor, your entire team. They can't put in the header of the email, mass layoff Wednesday, 11 a.m. meeting. They can't do that, because if they did, there'd be chaos. People would walk out. People would not attend the meeting. I wouldn't. I would not. The B-man. If my manager gave me an email in the inbox, my Outlook inbox that said mass layoff, please attend meeting, I'm not attending the meeting, because if I'm not at the meeting, you can't fire me. So I'm going to hide. I'm going to make you find me. I'm not going to show up to the conference room. So, like, they can't do, it's very similar to the economy. Like, if Trump or whoever the president gets on TV or on the radio or on Twitter and goes, hey, or X or whatever the fuck you call it, goes, hey, the money, it's Fugazi. We're all out. We're $20 trillion in debt. We're done. The Fed can't make new money. We're out. We're broke. That would cause a run on the banks. It caused chaos. The economy would collapse. Same thing with your corporation. If your manager quietly let one person know, hey, I'm laying your ass off, and everybody else, word's going to spread. They're going to have to lock the windows, because there's probably, the insurance probably doesn't cover everybody jumping to their death out the window. You can't, you gotta hide. You gotta hide how you're going to do the layoff. That's why I say, hey, roadmap 2025 does not include your salary and benefits. Goodbye. You are terminated. Go speak with HR. They're between a rock and a hard place. The corporation, they have to fire you, so they got to give you some general headline in email. You show up to the meeting, say, hey, can you please be on camera for this one? And then they get to see your faces as they kick you to the curb. And it's just, that's layoff 101. Now, it's terrible that the corporation does so, but let's be honest, your job was fake. So is mine. I remember I got laid off. I had a 3-month warning. So I used to work for this company on 5th Avenue, New York City, on like the 5th floor. We had like a meeting in the conference room. They told everyone, hey, everybody come to the conference room. We go to the conference room. Some lady or guy we've never met before start talking for about 5 minutes. And then they in the middle of the sandwich, the talking sandwich, the lady said, oh, by the way, everyone has to move to a different city or you're going to be terminated in the next 90 days. And then went on with the meeting. And then everybody, like me and everybody else, is kind of like, can you elaborate on the termination that you just said we're all fired? And then the meeting ended. We went outside, and everybody ran to our manager's area, to his his room, his office. And, oh, what the fuck was that? And then he hid because he didn't want to tell all of us and deal with that. And then he said, oh, we all have to move to a different state or a different city within the state, or we're losing our job in 90 days. It's frustrating. But that's what corporations got to do. They got to rip the Band-Aid off, because if they go one by one, like, word spreads and there'd be chaos. And once you've been in corporate America enough, long enough, you're experienced enough. Like once you're a mercenary, and all of us who work corporate America, myself included, when you're working for the man, you're a mercenary. Your corporation does not care about you, nor should you care about your corporation. If you care about your corporation, you have low IQ. They'll tell you that on the internet, and I agree with that statement. But when you've worked corporate America enough, you put in enough time, you realize, like, you're smart enough to the game, and you realize that it's not the email, like the heading of the email, it's the timing of the email that will tell you everything you need to know and or be concerned about going into the meeting. Like the corporation I work for now, usually it comes down Friday, like early, like mid Friday morning, we'll get a notification, hey, we're having a meeting in 15 minutes. Now, that is rare at my company. Usually our company-wide emails are company-wide meetings via Teams, because we're remote, or like our Teams meeting. Like there's a week's in advance, or if it's just our local team, it's days in advance we know about the meeting. So when it comes down Friday morning, hey, we're having a meeting in 15 minutes, like I know, there was a layoff, or someone, like a higher up was fired, or there was a major shift in the company, and they're going to give us the information right away. And usually for me, like it's shitty that people turn off, but getting to be at the meeting is a good sign. It's like, oh, well, I was not the one laid off, so like I get to keep the job forever before AI takes it. But like every company, some companies it's Monday, some companies it's late Friday afternoon. But like when you work, like like when you get that meeting, that impromptu meeting, like that's a tell. Like like I'm either getting fired or I'm learning about somebody else who was already fired. So like you just pay attention to the timing, and yeah. All I can say is try to get out from under the soul, the foot sole of the man, and work for yourself if you can, because the corporations, they're in the conference room. Like we met last episode, we talked about the boardroom. All they talk about is how can we eliminate that person. To them, you're not even a person. You're just a number on an Excel spreadsheet. Like, hey, that Excel spreadsheet, like that little block that your name is in, all they talk about, the higher ups, is how can we erase that name in that block and his or her salary? How can we do that? How can we outsource that to a different country? How can we have AI do that? How can we have somebody that do his or her job for him for a fraction of the price? That's all they care. They don't care about you, the person. So just know that you're a mercenary. You are a mercenary. So am I. Let's go look at some photos. Do you hear them dancing? Let me ask again. Do you hear them dancing on social media? You know what that means. It's mid to late August, which means college is back in session. And what you're hearing is the dancing on social media of Alpha Pi and all the other sorority floozies shaking their booty and their labia in front of the camera, the hundreds of them, and everybody's talking. Social media. Is this racist? Is this beautiful? What's this all about? What's the meaning? And I'm here, and we've talked about this here at Verbal Graffiti. I don't really care to enter the debate once again, because I've made my peace with it. All these babes in the sororities, Alpha Pi, Arizona State University, to be more specific, I'd fuck all of them, unprotected, with their consent, of course. We're all about consent here at Verbal Graffiti. But there's no. But the stance I've taken, and I still believe it a year later, is that these babes, they're not human. They're not alien, but they're certainly not human. And other than fucking, I want nothing to do with any of them, and nor should any of you if you're over the age of 25. I'm not going to judge you if you do, but you shouldn't. And what when I see these videos now, these sorority dance videos in front of the gorgeous house with the pillars and the Greek pillars, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and the babes, although they're not human, they're still beautiful, and they make Mr. Perfect point upward. What I think about is the sisters and all the other graduates who are not on campus come September 1st, post Labor Day. I have a niece who just graduated this past May. Congratulations. I was there at one point, a graduate, and that's a tough time. It's a precarious time for the postgraduate. High school, through high school, elementary, you're talking 12, kindergarten, so that's 13, plus 4, maybe 5 years of college. So you're talking a minimum of 16, maybe 18 or 19 years of education. One ladder in front of the other, or atop the other, like first, second, third, all the way up, freshman, sophomore, and then you graduate, and then there's no more ladder. You're just a graduate. Like you reach the pinnacle, but there's no treat there. There's nothing. And September 1st, and you have friends who are going back to campus, and you're not, and you were going back to campus the last 4 years, and every year of your life, you've gone back to school. And then suddenly you don't go back to school, and it's a terrifying, it's a confusing, terrifying stage of life. It really, I don't feel like I'm a very selfish person to be, man. So these people, these people who graduated in May and now they're not going back to campus. I don't feel bad for that. I feel almost like I put myself back where they're at now, and the emotions I had. It makes me kind of not relive them, but reinterrogate those emotions I have. So I really don't feel bad, or I'm not curious about those postgraduates, but it does put me back in that spot and the precarious spot I was, because I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and so I was like, I'll just go back to school. I'll go back to grad school. I'll keep putting off adulthood. I'm still doing that. 41 years of age, but when you see those videos too. Those dance videos, the handstands and all that jazz, there are some sisters, some sorority members that are no longer doing the dance because they got to enter postgrad. I don't like the term real life, but the postgraduate life. And that's, a tip of my penis to those sisters who are no longer part of the dance. I'm thinking of you, but really I'm thinking about myself when I was there. All right, moving along. Not much to say with this one. It's photos. I took several snapshots on social media of this gentleman, which we'll discuss. Male stripper available in Fort Lauderdale for male and female parties. Also regular dance at La Boy FTL. Never been there, don't know what that is. Assume it's a club. And his Instagram account, which I also pulled photos from, is at Tim A Dancer. And I was scrolling through Reddit. I saw this photo of him, and I vacillate. I spend a lot of time looking at his photos and his Instagram, and I vacillate between wanting to be this man's bestie, best friend, and not wanting to be alone with a car on him driving down I-95. It's one or the other. I vacillate between the two. I either want nothing to do with him, terrified of him, or I want to be part of his life. I want to be his hype man. I want to be the one he confides in. When I look at this guy, he's magnetic. You gotta give him that. The chain, the male thong, the selfie in the bathroom or the room with the neon lighting. Put this man on the guest list for Studio 54. This man, we don't deserve this. He's just not a man. he's a superstar. This is a superstar. We don't deserve him in the year 2025. And he's just got to be bored with all of us here at Verbal Graffiti and the outside world, because there's too many of us in the year 2025. We're mid, we're basic, we're driving pre-owned, which means used SUVs, mid-sized sedans, 4-door. This guy is anything but that. This guy oozes charisma. Now, it might not be movie star charisma, but it's a certain type of charisma, and he has me like, I look at his photo, and I got a lot to say about this guy, but immediately between vacillating whether I want to be his friend or not is like the underwear he's wearing. Like, so he's wearing a male thong, and he's doing that in a lot of his photos on social media. It makes me question myself. Like, the B-Man, I am as banal an undergarment guy as you're going to come across. I am basic Calvin Klein boxer briefs, black. I don't like gray or white because, you get the smudge marks, so I keep it black so it hides the smudge marks. But that's all I wear. But then I see this guy wearing a thong. I'll be honest, he looks handsome in that thong. In that leopard, whatever it is, thong, he looks handsome. Now, I'm not sexually attracted to him, but it does make me think, well, I like thongs on babes. I steal their thongs at any chance. Anytime I have the opportunity to, I will try to steal their thong if I get it off of her. I like sniffing them. So it's like, well, why am I not wearing thongs? Like, I like to think I have confidence in my sexuality. And if I like the thongs on the babes, maybe the babes would like to see a thong on the B-Man. Makes me think. I don't know. I like to think that I'm confident, but maybe I don't have the confidence because I've never even thought about wearing a thong casually throughout, daily throughout my day. So that's one thing that he makes me question about myself. And then I will look at him, and I don't know, would I wear a thong? The problem is like we've talked about this. I have a hairy asshole. So if I had a thong, like the G-string, I'd have hair coming out of like the back side. Like there's one thing, like a babe, when she has like pubic hair coming out of the thong of the undies, that's kind of, it's cute. That could be sexy. But the hair coming out of the ass of the thong, that nobody wants that. So no, I'm not going to go thong. I would like to, though, if I had a more firm and hairless ass, I would think about it, and I might even do more than think about it. But another thing I also see when I look at this gentleman, this superstar, is, his what is it? Like, his sexuality it's nebulous. He's probably a mixture. He's a cocktail of all, a bi, straight, hetero, gay. Like, he does it all. I don't know what he is. He's a mixed cocktail. He fucks with everybody. I'll tell you what, this is a guy. This is a superstar. He's not afraid of HIV. Like, look at this guy. That's a man who's not afraid of catching the bug. He's going to live his life, and if he gets the bug, he gets the bug. He's not going to let HIV get in the way of stripping at male and female strip clubs. Let me tell you why I want to be his best friend, be his bestie, his BFF, is because I don't necessarily want to go out and party with him, but I do want to be there when he confides with everything that happened the night before. So I want to meet up with him Sunday, mid Sunday morning. Let's say 11 a.m. Sunday, we're at brunch. We're at outside table in Miami because he's not going to come to Connecticut. Look at this guy. Look at this superstar. This is a modern day, real life Dirk Diggler. And it's a shame a director has not found him and introduced him to the masses, because if the masses knew about this superstar, he'd be a household name. I wish I knew his real name, not just his handle, but I want to be there at brunch, bottomless mimosas, as he tells me about the escapades from the night before. I want to know about every guy who put a dollar bill in his G-string. Who were those people? What was going down in the champagne room? Who was doing cocaine off your butthole? I want him to tell the story about how he was on stage and some bride-to-be sucked him off in front of 200 out-of-town club goers. I want to be there. I want him to still not be drunk, but still have a bit of a buzz from the night before and a bit of that high from being an entertainer on stage that hasn't worn off. I want to see that on him. I want to see a bit of the glitter that's still on his chest from the night before, and hopefully he has all of the cum rinsed out of his asshole that that was put in him a few hours prior. And I want to be there listening to those stories as people walk by and look at him and give him that look. This superstar, wait, was that? What was it? Was that the superstar who was slapping his penis against the cash register last night? Was that him? Was that him? Or do we just have too many Red Bull vodkas? I want people questioning, wait, did I see him as I'm the guy that he's talking to as I itch my nose? And but then, I want to drive down the boardwalk in Miami after our brunch. We're driving in his BMW 507 convertible, and I want to watch the hair. Sorry, the air just the flow mess up his hair and just admire. Wow, look at that head of hair. I want to admire that. And we're driving down the Miami boardwalk. Palm trees, babes in bikinis, muscle heads, 85 degrees, sun, the smell of the ocean. This is living. This is living. I'm in a convertible with the superstar. I'm his bestie. It's tantalizing. Being his friend would be it's tantalizing. I want to reach out to him, but I'm not going to, because I know the dream of being his best friend is better than the reality, because the reality is exhausting. Because look at this guy. Look at this superstar, Dirk Diggler. Look at Dirk. The real life Dirk Diggler. His night doesn't start until midnight. He takes naps at 9 p.m. Think about it. Most of you are going to bed at 9 p.m. This guy's taking a nap, and then he wakes up at midnight, and he doesn't even go out to 1 a.m. And his night doesn't end until his coke dealer runs out of coke and runs out of poppers to pop. And the sunrise is not, the sun comes up. He sees sunrise, and he goes, oh, good. We have 3 more hours until the normies enter the business district. So you're not even going to sleep until 10 a.m. And that's 3 or 4 nights a week. There was a time when I could vacation with them for one night, but I can't be his bestie because, I'm afraid of HIV. Unlike this superstar, I can't live that lifestyle that hard, that long, that vibrant as she is. I'm just a normie. I'm afraid of the bug catching HIV, and I don't fuck with the gays, so I don't think I just feel like being in his presence too often, you might contract a contagion from him. But again, I'm not judging him. I admire the way he's living his life, and I wish I could live my life. I wish I could live my life like he does, but instead I admire smut instead of actually being the smut. A tip of my penis to our superstar, though, the modern day Dirk Diggler. Go suck a fat one.